Hello and welcome to your latest Maths Wizard video. Today we are going to be looking at product of prime factors, so writing a number as a product of prime factors. Okay, so that's the main skill we're going to be looking at today. So some key terminology here. So product of means multiply. So that always, whenever you see the phrase product of, it means multiply. Prime numbers, we're looking at numbers that only have two factors, so the number 1 and the number itself. And we're talking about factors here, so we're talking about numbers that go into other numbers essentially. So when we write a product of prime factors, what this essentially involves is finding the prime numbers which multiply together to get that specific number. So if we look at the number 36, 36 as a product of prime factors is 2 times 2 times 3 times 3. So those are the prime numbers you would need to multiply together to get 36. Now there is another way of writing this which is known as index form, and quite often they do ask you to write product of prime factors in index form, and it's often the easiest way to write it anyway. So here we would write this as 2 squared times 3 squared for 36. Now you might be thinking, well, how do I get to this 2 times 2 times 3 times 3? So the best way to do this is to have a look. So the way that you tackle these is by using what are known as factor trees. So we start with 42, and then we need to find two numbers which can multiply to get 42. Now, an important thing here is that we do not include the number 1. So we can't do 1 times 42. But we can pretty much go anywhere really in terms of the other factors of 42. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go with 7 and 6. So 7 times 6 does give you 42. Now, the next question we need to ask ourselves is this. Are any of these two factors of 42 prime? Well, 7 is. So we draw a little circle around 7 and we leave that 7 where it is. Now we need to look at the 6. Well, 6 isn't prime, so we need to continue our little factor tree a little bit further. So now we need to find some factors of 6. Well, we can do 2 times 3 to get 6. And now you'll notice that we've now got 2 more prime numbers. So we draw circles around them. And what that tells us is that 42 as a product of prime factors is 2 times 3 times 7. Okay, so if you multiply those three numbers together, you will get 42. So therefore, 42 as a product of prime factors is 2 times 3 times 7. So let's take a look at another example. So we've got 100 as a product of prime factors here. So if we start with 100, like I've said previously, it doesn't really matter which one you start with. So let's go with 250, shall we? Let's go with that one. Well, 52 is prime number, so we can draw a circle around that, but 50 is not. So we could perhaps go with, I don't know, 10 times 5 for that. Well, 5's prime, so we can draw a circle around that, but 10 is not. We can then do 2 times 5 to get 10. And we'll see again, we've now got all prime numbers. So we've got 2 times 2 times 5 times 5, which if we write in index form is like this. So we've got 2 squared times 5 squared. And that will be 100 as a product of prime factors. If you want to look at this another way, we've got 4 there times 25, which as you can see will give you 100 if you want to just check that that's correct. It's always worth checking at the end when you do this. Now, got a much higher number here for this one. Now, what I would do when you've got higher numbers like this, if you've got a 0 on the end, personally, I would do this. I'd go 36 times 10. Yeah, then you've got relatively a little bit smaller numbers there to work with. Well, both of these are not prime, so we need to keep going. With 36, we can do 6 sixes. Again, not prime. Oh, I'm running out of space. So we've got 2 and 3. I'm going to move this down here. So just bear with me a sec. I'll just rub that out. So we can go 2 and 3 down there. They're both prime. We do 2 and 3 off this side here. So we've got those prime numbers there. Then we've got 10. We're going to do 2, and then we're going to do 5 there. And they're both prime. Okay, so now we've got to have a look. We've got quite a lot of numbers circled here. We've got 2 times 2 times 2. Then we've got 3 times 3. And then I'm running out of space again. We've got a 5 there. So again, probably a much better one to write in index form here. I'll just put in a 5 there. That should be a 3. So we've got 2 squared. Sorry, 2 cubed, not squared. 2 cubed times 3 squared and times by 5 there. And if we want to have a look at that, we've got 8 times 9, which is 72, times 5, which does give you 360, if you want to do your little check there at the end. Okay, so I'll just underline that so you can see that that's clearly the answer there. Right, so I'd like you to have a go at these 3 examples here. I've got 2 that are not too complicated. I've got a nice challenging one here on question 3. So a nice one, a bit of a challenge for you if you're finding this sort of quite straightforward so far. So if you pause your video and then have a go. Okay, and here are your answers to these questions. So if you just want to check those through, and that is it for today's video on product of prime factors. So hopefully you found this useful. If you have, please hit subscribe, and I'll be uploading lots more videos over the next weeks and months to help you with your GCSE Maths foundation. Thanks very much for listening. Bye bye.